Hello there. This is huge. It's not just the banks that have rejected Nigel Farage. So he must be doing something right. The establishment hate for Nigel Farage just shines through, doesn't it? And it's not just through the banks, it gets worse. But more, the establishment also fears him, because he stated that if needed, he would make a comeback to do Brexit all over again, and that will have sent a shudder down the establishment's spine, making them more intent on ridding themselves of him. Now, I own to having mixed feelings about Nigel Farage after he stood down against the Tories in the 2019 general election, and also recommended that Tony Blair take charge of rolling out a certain medical intervention. But even that was not enough to endear him with the establishment. They are obviously still intent on pushing him out. But love him or loathe him, most would agree that he deserves the recognition. But it's worse than Farage being refused a bank account, because today we learn from the Express that Nigel Farage was turned down for a knighthood, but not just once. According to the report, he's missed out on an honour 5 times. Yes, the establishment is intent on ensuring that the most influential politician of the last 20 years gets airbrushed out of history. And they also hope that they can airbrush him out of the country, using the banking system to make life untenable for him here, even though he stepped back from frontline politics. And all you have to do is look at yesterday's by-election results to see what a mess the centre-right parties are in. And many of those are offshoots of Farage's original party, UKIP. And with the Tory lurch towards tax and borrow in order to spend on anything other than what the voters want them to spend on, puts the Conservative and Unionist Party firmly to the left of centre with the Lib Dems, Labour and the Greens. The Lib Lab Green Con Uni-Party group. All obsessed with socialism and net zero. Now Farage did the impossible with UKIP. And he also did the impossible with the Brexit Party. But when he stood down as the leader of the Brexit Party, which is now rebranded Reform UK, that party lost its shine. It no longer has the political impetus it once had. And the way swathes of the mainstream press ignore anything to the right of Karl Marx doesn't help either. They want to deny the right the oxygen of publicity. For example, Lawrence Fox claims the BBC told him they'd never have him on air, even if he had won that by-election in Uxbridge and South Ruislip, where incidentally the Tories won. Who'd have thunk it? Anyway, the Express story on Nigel and missing out on a knighthood says that Boris Johnson put him forward, but that the Honours Committee rejected him. Maybe they were using the Coots dossier as a reference. Now, believe it or not, there is not just one Honours Committee. No, it's a huge operation. There are 12 Honours Committees. Yes, 12. There's a main overarching committee with 11 subcommittees. Let's take a look at them. Arts and Media. Community and Voluntary Service, the Economy, Education, Health and Social Care, Parliamentary and Political Service, Public Service, Science, Technology and Research, Sport, State and Diversity. With the Diversity Committee's remit being to ensure the honours system is properly reflective of UK society, which leads me to assume they get to look at all the recommendations. And given Brexit, I think this is a major failure by them. It appears that political diversity is not amongst the criteria they look at. And looking at the membership of these august bodies, it appears to be a collection of thoroughly establishment types chosen by the Cabinet Office. civil servants and those already inside the Honours Club. The diversity there is staggering by its absence, all designed to keep the right sort in their closed network, it seems. The great and good rewarding the great and good, and keeping the riffraff like Nigel Farage out. And interestingly, the entry in the government website on these committees says, a representative from 10 Downing Street is invited to attend all committee meetings. So surely the Prime Minister gets briefed regularly on what goes on, something that raises its own questions. And now look at the Honours recommendations from Boris Johnson that the committees did accept. Can you remember the names of any of them and what they achieved? I had to look it up to spark my memory, but I won't bore you with their names. But some are noteworthy for their, at best, mediocrity. And going over the antics of some past knights and lords, you do have to question the work of these committees, don't you? So what exactly are these committees rewarding? Well, as far as I can see, they reward establishment compliance. Now, the Express quotes one unnamed source as saying, Nigel would never make a fuss about it, but I think he would appreciate some recognition for what he has done. There has been no more influential politician in Britain in the last 20 years than him, and what he has achieved in changing this country for the better is really quite astonishing. And also that he has certainly been nominated for a knighthood now at least 5 times. 5 times, with the last person to do it being Boris Johnson. So it appears that these Honours Committee members have the same political leanings as RBS, NatWest and Coots. But they also recognise the danger that Farage poses to their cosy little establishment stitch-up. And with the gradual clear-out of Brexiteers in Parliament that we are now witnessing, the last thing the establishment will want to see is a Sir Nigel out and about fouling up their pro-EU plans. Because in political and influential terms he's probably worth 100 of them, if not more. So they're going all out to prevent Farage making a comeback, say as the full-time leader of Reform UK. And they might just succeed. But they need to do this prior to making their Brexit reversal apparent. And the timing of Boris Johnson's enforced exit and Nigel Farage's banking woes and a knighthood refusal must all be coincidental, mustn't it?